One of the best ways to open your speech or presentation with a short opening remark is to use a build-up. They set the mood for something awesome that's about to come up, and the audience can't help but be intrigued by what you're going to say next. Take the example of Kelly McGonigal.
I have a confession to make. But first, I want you to make a little confession to me.
The rest of her speech is about stress and how to make stress your friend. Now, she could have spoken a lot about what stress is, the ill effects of stress, how to go about dealing with it, but no, she left that for the later part of the presentation. But to hook everyone's attention, she started off with something completely unique, a confession. And as the audience, we can't help but think, what confession is she going to make? But more importantly, what confession does she want from me? And it's when we can make the audience question such things is when we can really grab their attention from the beginning. Here's another example by Scott Dismore.
Wow, what an honor. I've always wondered what this would feel like. So 8 years ago, I got the worst career advice of my life.
The next short opening remark that we can use is a provocative statement. I'm going to start this by playing an example by Jane McGonigal.
So here's my special mission for this talk. I'm going to try to increase the lifespan of every single person in this room by 7.5 minutes. Literally, you will live 7.5 minutes longer than you would have otherwise just because you watched this talk.
Now, this isn't her exact opening remark. She does say a few words before this particular statement, but that's irrelevant because this statement is what really hooks the audience in from the get-go. And statements like these really make the audience sit back on their seat and go, really, you can increase my lifespan by 7.5 minutes? And they're more likely to stick around for the rest of the speech because they're wondering to see if that's actually true or even possible. If we can use any statements that makes the audience feel that how is this thing going to be possible? Or if we lay out an unpopular opinion that doesn't tick them off in a negative way, but really keeps them intrigued to know whether what you're saying is actually true, because it does something known as disconnection of their current worldview. They have a certain way of looking at things, and then we say something that makes them question that perspective. And that's the power of provocative statements. One of my favorite openings to use is a prop. Mohammad Khatani, when he became the world champion of public speaking, simply lit a cigarette on stage and used just one word to open his speech, which was,
"What?"
Now let's look at an example by Lauren Singer. Watch how she uses a particular prop to hook your attention from the get-go.
This is all of the trash that I've produced in the past 3 years.
The prop, along with her short opening remark, is just wonderful. It's genius. When we see someone produce such less trash, it makes us question, how did she do it? And more importantly, if I feel strongly about this matter, how can I do the same? And that's what makes us stick around for the remainder of the presentation. And the fourth and one of my favorite ways to open up a speech is to use a simple short question. The only thing we need to keep in mind is to not keep the question very, very obvious. We can either use something completely bizarre, like what Vsauce did.
What is the best kind of cheese to use to catch a bear?
Or we can ask something that almost everyone wants the answer to, like this guy.
How would you like to completely silence your mind?
Regardless of what technique we use to open our speech, the main thing we need to keep in mind is that we need to make the audience think that what's about to come next. Because the job of an opening isn't to be exciting for the sake of it. It's to make the audience feel that whatever idea we're presenting is going to be interesting and worth their time. And that can happen if we try to use fancy build-ups or even ask a simple question. But opening remarks are well and good, but you might be wondering, what do you need to say after the opening remark is done? What do you need to say in the first 30 seconds of your speech to make sure your audience is gripped from the beginning? If you want to know that, we have a video for you right here.